you very much. Okay. So, good afternoon, my dear friends. How are you all? Yes, you must be doing fantastic, huh? All right. So, my dear friends, what are we starting today, or what are we dealing with today? We have gone into the discussion of we have gotten into the discussion of determination of prices, or we call it price determination, or we call it determination of prices or price determination. That is okay, huh? It's just like active voice, passive voice. Okay. Now, this chapter is going to be one of the easiest chapter. Obviously, all chapters in eco are easy, but this one is going to be the easiest, subject to one condition. Subject to one condition. What would that condition be, sir? I'll write down the condition for you all. The condition is focus on graphs. So, my dear friends, if you are able to focus on graphs, then you have won this chapter. You have understood this chapter then. The only condition is focus on graphs. Okay. Now, first of all, let's talk about an openly competitive market. Open market is the one where import is allowed. Okay. Open competitive market. Competitive market means there are a large number of sellers and buyers. Obviously, we have discussed this. Let's say we are in an openly competitive market. Okay. Yes, sir. Now, how are prices determined in that market? Let me draw for you a table and explain you the same. Let me draw for you a table and explain you the same. Okay, sir? Yes. Have a look, friends. If I draw it here, let's say, I draw price table, quantity demanded table, and quantity supplied table. Okay. Suppose when price is 10 rupees, quantity demanded is 1000 units, but supply is 500 units. When price rises further, let's say to 15 rupees, now consumers are saying that, oh my God, the price has increased so much, we will not want much. So the demand will fall. We have understood this. Yes. Supply may be rise. And then when price is, let's say 18 rupees, let's say demand falls to 700 and quantity supplied becomes 700 because price rise results in rise in supply. So friends, if you pay attention, there is a price level here. You will identify and tell me what is the price level in this given table or in this given example where quantity demanded is becoming equal to quantity supplied. At what price level is it taking place? Yes, definitely. All of you will say, sir, come on, it's a very easy question. That at price of 18 rupees, quantity demanded will become equal to quantity supplied. Now, in economics, my dear friends, in economics, this price, as you call it, is the equilibrium price. This price, as you have it, is the equilibrium price. And this quantity that you see here, as you have it, is called the equilibrium quantity. Is called the equilibrium quantity. So there is an equilibrium price and then there is an equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium price is 18 rupees. Equilibrium quantity is 700 units. Absolutely. Now, my dear friends, let me show you a diagram for this. Sir, you have already shown a similar diagram. Yes, I have shown you a similar diagram while I was teaching the topic of price mechanism. Still, the topic demands it. This diagram I am going to repeat multiple times in today's class. So be ready for the same. Okay. So here I draw it. Here it is price. Okay. Here it is price. And then here we have it quantity. Okay, friends. Now we have price and quantity in our hands. Now see, this is quantity demanded. Okay. This is quantity supplied. All right. So there you have it. There is one place quantity demanded and on another place you have quantity supplied. On one place you have quantity demanded and on the other one you have quantity supplied. Okay. Now if you will look carefully, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied are becoming equal here. Yes, sir. So you join them and you join here. This, my dear friends, is a diagram wherein you have seen here equilibrium price and herein you have seen equilibrium quantity. Today's class, my dear friends, is special because this diagram you will see multiple times. today, this is the first diagram. I mean, every diagram we draw, we will have to draw this first. This is the ultimate truth of today's class and of this particular chapter. If you get this, you get this chapter. So now pay attention, friends. If you look here, quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied at a lower price. This we call is excess demand situation. This we call a situation of excess demand. Okay. Now, if you look here, this we call a situation of excess supply. Acha, remember one thing. While I'm at it, excess demand is here and excess supply is here. While I'm at it, you must remember this is the equilibrium price level. This is the equilibrium price level. Okay, this is the equilibrium price level. Acha. So remember that when demand is greater than supply, it is excess demand. When supply is greater than demand, it's excess supply. When both are equal, demand and supply, it's the equilibrium point. The quantity is equilibrium quantity. Price is equilibrium price. Okay. Now, I am giving you a statement. Please focus, because I will explain this. The statement is, and everybody will write it down with me. What is the statement, sir? The statement is, it is in the nature of equilibrium. It is in the nature of equilibrium to restore itself. It is in the nature of equilibrium to restore itself. So equilibrium will always try to identify itself or restore itself. Equilibrium is always going to trace back to itself or always going to identify itself. It is in its nature. Sir, what do you mean? I'll give you an example. Suppose there is a supplier who, let's say, charges the price which is below the equilibrium price. Let me write it down, price 1, P1. Now what will happen? At lower price, there will be excess demand in the market. Due to excess demand, what will happen? Price will further rise and equilibrium price will be restored. Now suppose there is another producer who is saying, no, I will charge higher than equilibrium price. Okay, go ahead. Price P2. At price P2, in economy, there will be excess supply because consumers won't be ready to buy. In order to sell off this excess supply, these sellers or the producers will again have to reduce the price. So you see, always equilibrium will restore itself. I hope and I'm sure you people have understood this. कि equilibrium अपने आप को restore कर लेगा. अगर आप excess demand पे हो या excess supply पे हो, उससे कोई अंतर नहीं पड़ता है. My dear friends, is that clear, friends? Yes or no, please? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have understood this. Yes, we have understood this. So it is in the nature of equilibrium to restore itself. When price is less than equilibrium price, there will be excess demand. And when price is above equilibrium price, there will be excess supply. In both these cases, the price is going to return to the equilibrium level. In both these cases, price is going to return to the equilibrium level. Okay, sir, we got it, sir. Now moving on. Now if we move on further, let's pay attention to what is going on beyond this. Now we have to study the impact of changes in demand and supply on the equilibrium level. Chapter focus. What is the focus of this chapter? Focus of chapter. What is the focus of this chapter? My dear friends, the focus of this chapter is to study the impact of, what is the focus of this chapter? To study the impact of demand and supply changes on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. To study impact of demand and supply changes on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Okay, let me give you an idea. Let me give you a brief idea about the same. Okay, pay attention, friends. Have a look here. Have a look. Suppose this is the demand curve. Suppose this is the supply curve. Cool. Yes, sir. Cool. Now, when this is the excess demand, this is the excess supply. Let's say this is the equilibrium price level. Okay. Yes. Always you will draw this first. Always, always, always. I told you that in this chapter, this is always going to be the first diagram. Now let's study the changes in demand. Okay. Now we are focusing on focus one. Focus on the word change. It means price will remain constant. The change is, whenever you use the word change, it means shift. It means it will be increase in demand or decrease in demand. So change in demand is divided into two types. Will either be increase in demand or, you got it correct, decrease in demand. Now, why does increase or decrease take place? We have got to answer this. Okay, we have got to answer this. Okay, pay attention. Excuse me. So see, it will be increase in demand or decrease in demand. Okay. Now, my dear friends, why does demand increase? Let's see some of the reasons. It could be rise in income of the consumer. Okay. It can be fall in price of complementary goods. We have studied it in demand. Oh, so you are telling that we have to study demand and supply to study this? Absolutely. Okay, sir. Now moving on. Rise in income, fall in price of goods. Okay. Now complementary goods. Then rise in price of substitute goods. Rise in price of substitute goods, or increase in tastes and preferences, or improve taste and preferences. People like it more, right? And the counterpart will be decrease. So fall in income, rise in price of complementary goods, fall in the price of this, and declining taste and preferences. These are some factors that cause change in demand. I am sure you all will agree. So remember, price will remain constant here. Now see what is happening is, this is demand curve 1, this is supply curve 1. Cool? Yes, sir. Suppose due to some factor, there has been a rise in demand. There has been a rise in demand. Not rise, I would say increase in demand. That is the right word to use. Achha. There is an increase in demand. Now, my dear friends, if there is an increase in demand, where will the demand curve shift? Yes, you all guessed it right. Where will the demand curve shift? Yes, you all guessed it right. The demand curve will shift towards the, yes, right. Absolutely. So, my dear friends, it will shift towards the right. See, once it has shifted towards the right, now you apply some sense and think. The question is what? What will be the impact on equilibrium? This chapter has only one question, which is what will be the impact on equilibrium? Our answer is simple. See, the supply curve has not changed. So you draw the new intersection point of demand and supply. So now they are intersecting here and they are intersecting here. So my dear friends, as you can see, the equilibrium quantity has increased from QE to Q1 and equilibrium price has risen from PE to P1. But that's your answer. So both your answer will be answer. Both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity is going to rise in the given scenario. In the given scenario, both are going to rise in the given scenario. Yes. Now, that is the focus of this chapter. My dear friends, please copy this much down. I am sure you all have done it. If not, I am waiting for a while. I'm waiting for a while to copy this down. Chalo, copy it down. Fatafat. And whatever we are doing here, na, it's exactly from institute material and is enough on the same hand. Both are rising, as you can clearly see. Okay, got it. Got it. So now, my dear friends, having said that, since both are on the rise, since you have said that both are rise in the given scenario, since both are rising in the given scenario, now what next? Now what next? Having said this much, having understood this much, let's focus further. Let's focus further. Okay? See here. Focus further. Understood, sir? Now, my dear friends, I am giving you a target. Pay attention. This is your target. Okay, are you ready for the target? Yes, sir. Now see. Apply some sense. Bring your both hands together. Okay. This is demand hand. This is supply hand. Okay. Now, what happened was demand rose, increase in demand. So demand is greater than supply, which means what is it? It is the situation of excess demand, and what we studied, that always there will be excess demand, which equilibrium price will rise. And exactly what we have seen here, equilibrium price has risen. Oh, so sir, the simple funda is, even without drawing the graph, first of all, you must know how to draw the graph. But even without drawing the graph, if you've got to understand, it is this way, that if demand is greater than supply, if demand is greater than supply, the simple logic is, in economy, there is a situation of excess demand. In economy, there is a situation of something called excess demand. And whenever there is a situation of excess demand, what will happen to equilibrium price? Yes, you guessed it right. Equilibrium price is going to rise. All right, sir. And again, whenever in market or in economy, there is a situation of excess supply. Wherever in the economy, there is a situation of, what do we call it? Excess supply. The equilibrium price is going to what? Equilibrium price is going to fall down. Yes, sir, it's correct. So that is how it works. If demand is greater than more supply, excess demand, equilibrium price will rise. If supply is greater than demand, excess supply, equilibrium price will fall. Acha, let's draw another case, my dear friends. Okay, let me ask you a simple question. Show the impact on. Obviously, I am not writing it in MCQ form. In exam, you will get it in MCQ form. I am just teaching in a question answer format. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry that sir is telling that long answer will come. No. MCQ will come. I'm just trying to teach you that way. Now, see, suppose the question is, show the impact fall in consumer income on equilibrium price and quantity level. On equilibrium price and quantity level. On equilibrium price and quantity level. Show the impact is what they are telling. Show the impact is what they are telling of fall in consumer income. Now, my dear friends, if consumer income has fallen, if consumer income has fallen, then what will happen? Yes, you guessed it correct. Then there is going to be a fall in demand. If consumer income has fallen, the demand is going to what? Fall. The demand is going to what? Fall. And if consumer income has fallen, demand is going to fall. Supply is going to remain the same. As we have already seen or we have known that when supply is greater than demand, it is said to be in the economy a situation of excess supply. And whenever there is excess supply, equilibrium price is going to fall and quantity will also fall. Not because equilibrium price is falling, it's because in general demand is falling, supply is constant. So one of them is falling now overall. Now let me give you an impact. Let me give you an impact of the same. Now, how do you verify it with graph? See, graph is a proof. Graph will help you answer all the questions. Always the steps are the same. Always first draw the demand curve and the supply curve. Always first draw the demand curve, then you have the supply curve. Okay, there is this supply curve, there is this demand curve, and there is an intersection of the same. It's like this. There is an interaction of the same. It's like this. Yes, sir. So now, my dear friends, having said that, we have equilibrium price, we have equilibrium quantity, and we have equilibrium point. Yes, sir. Now, my dear friends, what I'm saying is that you all agree that, sir, supply has indeed reduced. You see, I mean, demand has indeed fallen down. Demand has indeed fallen down, sir. So, friends, if demand has fallen down, there's a leftward shift. You see, I've drawn this leftward shift. Now, where is this new intersection of this new demand curve taking place with supply? If you all have a closer look, it's somewhat here. As we have already guessed it, even before drawing this graph, is what has happened. Equilibrium price has fallen and equilibrium quantity has fallen. So graphs are proof that you cannot go wrong. Graphs ensure that you cannot go wrong. My dear friends, are you understanding? Are you with me? You or no in the chat, please. Please confirm, everyone. Please confirm, everyone. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So this has resulted in a fall in equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now I will summarize this entire thing in Hindi once. Okay. I will summarize this entire thing in Hindi once. Okay. So let me do it for you. देखिए क्या होता है, एक तरफ होता है डिमांड, एक तरफ होता है सप्लाई. सबसे पहले आपको डिमांड और सप्लाई का ग्राफ बना देना है. फिर आपको क्या देखना है कि इकोनॉमी में डिमांड सप्लाई से ज्यादा है या सप्लाई डिमांड से ज्यादा है. कभी भी डिमांड अगर सप्लाई से ज्यादा हुआ, इसका मतलब एक्सेस डिमांड है, तो दाम बढ़ेगा, इक्विलिब्रियम प्राइस बढ़ेगा. और अगर कभी भी एक्सेस सप्लाई है, मतलब सप्लाई डिमांड से ज्यादा है, तो इकोनॉमी में प्राइस घटेगा. बस खत्म बात, फुल स्टॉप. फुल स्टॉप लगा दीजिए. अच्छा, बस इतना ही है क्या सर? यस माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, इट इज दिस मच. नाउ मूविंग ऑन, नाउ मूविंग ऑन, नाउ मूविंग ऑन. पे अटेंशन. Suppose, now the question is, suppose the government is bringing in new technology. What is the government doing? The government is bringing in new technology. Okay, sir? Okay, sir. Now suppose government is bringing in new technology. Government bringing in new technology. State its impact on, state its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity is what the question is. Is what the question is. Now let me help you out, friends, with this entire discussion. Okay, pay attention, friends. See, pay attention, friends. See, this is quantity, this is price. Okay, so at one point you have quantity, on the other point you have price. Okay, at one point you have price, at one point you have quantity. Okay, friends. Yes, sir. This much is crystal clear. Now what happens is that once you have done this, again you draw the intersection of the two. So there is this demand curve here, and then there is this supply curve here. That they are intersecting here, and then they are falling down here. Okay. So there is this equilibrium price, and then there is this equilibrium quantity. That much is very simple. That much is very simple. That equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity you have gotten. Now what is happening is that the government is bringing in new technology. So if the government is bringing in new technology, it means that in the economy, supply is going to rise. This is supply curve. This is demand curve. Now, if the government is bringing in new technology, supply is going to rise, which will result in what? A rightward shift in the supply curve. Here you have it. A rightward shift in the supply curve. Friends, as soon as you have a rightward shift in the supply curve, you see the intersection is taking place here. So you see what is happening to equilibrium quantity. Equilibrium quantity has risen, equilibrium price has fallen. Acha. Why? Because you see what is happening here. What is happening here? See, supply is greater than demand. Okay, so supply is greater than demand means quantity is rising, and so equilibrium quantity has risen. Okay, but what has happened to equilibrium price? Equilibrium price is resulting in excess supply. Basically, in market there is excess supply. Whenever there is excess supply, we have already discussed that prices will be lowered, and hence this one. So, my dear friends, are you understanding the concept or the logic underlying this topic, the chapter? Yes or no, please? Are you feeling the pulse of this topic? Yes, sir, we are able to understand this. No, no, no. What if? Next question. This one I am giving you all. You all tell me what will happen. Okay, I am giving you all right, in an MCQ format. Yes, this chapter is entirely about demand and supply shift. If you have understood this logic, you are scoring full marks. Congratulations in this topic. Let me give you another question and see whether reality you have understood or not. All right. Government has increased indirect taxes on some commodities. As a result, equilibrium price and quantity will A. Rise, B. Fall, C. Rise, D. Rise, fall. Friends, I have given you all the options at your disposal. Attack. My dear friend Smriti is asking, if government brings new technology, how will supply increase? So, dear Smriti, there are two answers to this. Number one, see, if government is improving technology, what is the meaning of good technology? It will produce more. So, number one, your answer. And number two, if you have this question, I will advise you to watch supply chapter. I think you have not you have not attended the supply lecture. Either study it or watch the lecture. Institute has already uploaded it, so please do the needful. Come on, let me have the answer for this. Let me have the answer for this. Okay. Sir, we have understood this. So let's see. Now see, when government has increased taxes, what will happen? Producers' profit margin will fall. So it will have an effect on, what will it have an effect on? Profit margin falling, so quantity supplied will fall. Quantity supplied will go down because indirect taxes will affect quantity supplied. We have studied it in the factors affecting supply in the supply lecture. Now what is happening? Pay attention. If quantity supplied has fallen down, quantity demanded remaining the same, there is a situation of excess demand, due to which, and whenever in economy there is excess demand, because see, supply has fallen down. Whenever is excess demand, equilibrium price will rise. Now, since supply is falling, quantity will fall. So answer will be, there will be rise in price and fall in quantity. If you want to see it via a graph, here is the graph for you all, friends. Here is the graph for you all, friends. Yes, friends, pay attention. Have a look. If this is price, this is quantity. Let me give you the graph here. Okay. Economics is nothing without graphs, friends. So here it is demand. Here it is supply, and then when you intersect the both, friends, and friends, when you intersect the both, so it kind of, jiggles around here and you drop it down here. So what happens is you arrive at equilibrium price here, you arrive at equilibrium quantity here, you arrive at equilibrium point here. All of you would agree. Now, friends, if the government is raising the taxes, it will lead to fall in supply, because now producers will be demotivated because their profit margins will go down further. So what they are going to do is they are going to reduce their supply. So this is the new supply curve S1, the blue line that you see, leftward shift. As a result of this, what is happening? The new equilibrium price is here, new equilibrium quantity is here. So if you see, quantity has shifted left, but price has gone up. So price will rise, quantity will fall. I hope it's crystal clear now, friends. Yes or no, please. Even if somebody has made mistake, I hope it's crystal clear now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Now, friends, let me carry this discussion further on. Let me carry this discussion further on and help you with some other fundas. Let me help you with some other fundas too. Okay? Have a look here. Yes, very good. Very good, very good. Now, let me bring you all into a better funda or a new funda. Right? So, here it is. Here it is. I'm explaining this. So, let me give it to you. Okay? Now, see. Now, pay attention. The question is now, till now, what I was doing was, I was showing changes in one only. So when demand was changing, supply wasn't. When supply was changing, demand wasn't. Now here we have, we are in the concept where both will change. That is called simultaneous changes in demand and supply. What am I calling it? I'm calling it simultaneous changes in demand and supply. So it's somewhat like this. Simultaneous changes in demand and supply. You will see simultaneous changes in demand and supply. All right, pay attention. Now, what does simultaneous change means? It could be, and generally this is asked, either both rise or both fall. Yes, one rises, other falls, we will discuss that. But through rise, both fall. It can be. But if you look carefully, this can further be divided into three subsections, both of which. How, sir? First case could be that change in demand is greater than change in supply. So let's say demand is rising at a greater pace compared to rising supply. Both are rising, but demand is rising at a greater pace. It could be, or both could be falling and demand could be falling at a greater pace. Or it could be change in supply is greater than change in demand. So supply could be rising at a larger pace, or supply could be falling at a larger pace, or the pace could be equal. That is, the change in demand is exactly equal to the change in supply. So both are changing in the same pace. Both are changing in the same pace. This could be the case. Sir, we understood this. Sir, we understood this. So now, having said all this, let me explain you all of these things one by one. This is case A, case B, case C. All right, let me explain you each one of them. All right, case A. When rise in demand is greater than rise in supply. Yes, fall case we will also study, but first one by one. So rise in demand is greater than rise in supply. If you look, my dear friends, in here, where we are talking about rise in demand greater than rise in supply, there is one thing very predictable about equilibrium quantity. What will happen to equilibrium quantity? Without graph, you will tell me. Hint, demand is rising, supply is rising. So what will happen to quantity? Equilibrium quantity. Tell me the answer. Fatafat, immediately. Don't think, just answer. Don't think, just answer. Yes, you guessed it correct. Arey Baba, you will tell me, sir, if quantity demanded is also rising, if quantity supplied is also rising, if both are on the rise, then why will equilibrium quantity not rise? Obviously, equilibrium quantity will also rise. Common sense. If there is one equilibrium and if both the factors are rising in the same direction, obviously equilibrium quantity attached to that has to rise. I mean, what is the logic for it not to rise? Oh, sir, logical. Correct. Yes. Now let's talk about price. See, this is demand, this is supply. Come on, bring your hands. Demand, supply, demand, supply, demand, supply, demand, supply. This is demand, supply. Now, my dear friends, both are rising. See, demand is rising. And now see, supply is also rising. But who is rising at a larger pace? You see, I'm keeping my hands here. This is the demand hand, this is the supply hand. See, demand hand and supply hand, both are rising. But anytime you will see, since the change in demand is greater, demand hand is always above supply hand, resulting in excess demand, resulting in a rise in equilibrium price. Yes, sir, we understood that. Completely logical. And hence my answer is here. Equilibrium price is also going to rise. Now, in order to verify whatever I've just said, let me show you via a diagram. What's the harm in it? Let me show you via a diagram. So now have a look here. Acha, it's all the game of graphs, sir. I told you it's a game of graphs. Have a look here. This is the demand curve. This is the supply curve. All right. They're intersecting here. It's going down here. Equilibrium price is here. Equilibrium quantity is here. All this is here. Now, both are rising. So if demand curve is here and supply curve is here, now when there is a rise in demand greater than rise in supply. So if you see, demand curve has shifted rightward, obviously because it's rising. So supply is also rising. So this is D1. Supply is also rising. So yes, but you see what I've played a trick. If you see the trick that I have played, I'll show you. Since the rise in demand was greater than rise in supply, you see the gap that I've kept between the two demand curves is way more greater than the gap I have afford to keep between two supply curves. The science is that since the rise in demand is greater than rise in supply, we have got to respect that. Acha. Now, since this is the intersecting point of both the demand and the supply curves, so as you can clearly see, if you take a drop, equilibrium price is on the rise, equilibrium quantity is on the rise, which we had already earlier predicted. It is what we are getting. This is what we are getting. We had already predicted the same. Is that crystal clear, friends? Yes or no, please? Yes or no, please? Come on, friends. Absolutely logical. Absolutely logical. Very good. Very good. Correct. You are absolutely correct here. Now, moving on. Let's see what is happening here. Now, let's see moving on what is happening here. Okay. See. This much we have understood, na? Everybody, you have understood, na? Yes. Having said that, now what you need to remember further? Is what I am highlighting here. Okay, pay attention, friends. Okay. Now, question is, you will tell me if the fall in demand is greater than fall in supply, what shall happen? What shall happen? What shall happen? If the fall in demand is greater than fall in supply, what shall happen? Now you all see it. I am drawing the diagram here for you all. See. Achha, before I draw the diagram, my question is, one thing sure about equilibrium quantity. What will happen to equilibrium quantity? Come on guys, without a doubt, answer this immediately. What will happen to equilibrium quantity? We'll come to price later on. At least predict equilibrium quantity, what will happen? I'm asking what will happen to equilibrium quantity. Don't answer about price. I don't care about price. Tell me about quantity. Yes. Yes, sir. If demand is also falling quantity wise, supply is also falling quantity wise, how can the equilibrium quantity rise? Common sense. So obviously equilibrium quantity is also decrease, as you call it. Absolutely correct answer. Now again come back here. Demand supply. Now demand is falling at a greater pace. So let's say demand has fallen by 50%, supply by 20%. Now supply has an upper hand. Supply has the upper hand. Supply has an upper hand. And that means excess supply. In excess supply, what happens to equilibrium price? Obviously, equilibrium price will fall. And so your answer. Here it is, equilibrium price will fall. Let me show it to you via a diagram now. Sir, this is logical. Absolutely. See, demand is here, supply is here. So my dear friends, you join it out. You join it out here and just plot it down here. Okay, and you just plot it down here. Done. Now, friends, see, demand is falling at a greater pace. If demand is falling at a greater pace, let's keep it at a larger distance. Supply is falling, but not too much. And so if you see the equilibrium price here, equilibrium quantity here, now when they have fallen, they are now P1, Q1. So equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, as you had expected, both are falling down. As you had expected, both are falling down. And here you have it. Equilibrium price has fallen, equilibrium quantity has fallen. Full stop. Acha. Is that so, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, my dear friends, that is so. We have understood. We have understood this. That is the logic. That is the underlying logic, friends. That is the underlying logic. Now moving on. Now moving on. Let me ask you another question then. Let me ask you another question then. So we will understand what is happening. Okay. Now, you will tell me what will happen here in this given case. Okay. I'll give it to you in an MCQ format. Okay. So there is a rise in quantity demanded as well as quantity supplied. Okay. By same percentage. Without, first of all, draw graph. Don't be in a hurry to answer the question. Okay. There's a rise in quantity demanded as well as quantity supplied by same percentage. As a result, equilibrium price and quantity will, options are A, price fall. First one is for price, second one is for quantity. Fall rise. C, no change, comma rise. D, rise, comma no change. Come on, solve it and then answer it. Don't be in a hurry. By the same percentage, a new concept has been introduced here. Finally. Come on. Okay. So let's have a look at it, friends. Let's have a look at it. See, here both are rising by the same percentage. Arey Baba, so is there any difference between demand and supply? No. Since see, now both are rising, so definitely this is for sure that equilibrium quantity is going to rise. This is for sure. Let's lock it because both of the demand and supply are rising. So there is hardly any argument left. What if? Now you see, both are rising by same percentage. So both are having an equal hand. Remember, equilibrium price rises or equilibrium price falls. Remember, equilibrium price rises or equilibrium price falls. When? Only when. When? Only when there is a excess demand or excess supply. Here, is there any excess demand or excess supply taking place? No, sir, because you told that they are changing by the same percentage. Since changing by same percentage, my dear friends, your answer would be no change, comma, rise. C will be the correct answer. C will be the correct answer. Why? Because price will not change. Arey Baba, if both are changing by the same percentage, there is neither a situation of excess demand nor a situation of excess supply. So how can you expect anything to happen in that way? Sir, logical. Sir, absolutely logical. Now, I am not giving you MCQ options, but I'm asking you a question very pertinent in the given scenario. The question is very simple indeed. My question to you is, what happens if decrease in demand same as decrease in supply? What will happen in such scenario? I am not giving you any options. You will take your time and answer. Decrease in demand same as decrease in supply though. Decrease in demand. Okay, yes. For the previous case, let me draw a graph. Okay. In this case, let me draw a graph also. First of all, let me draw a graph. Okay. Then we will solve that question. Okay. Let me show a graph. Rise in demand as well as quantity by same percentage. So see, have a look here. Let me draw a graph. The previous case, this was demand curve, this was supply curve. So both were at the same level. And so this was the equilibrium price as you know it, and equilibrium quantity as you must know it. Yes, sir. Now what is happening? This is demand one, this is supply one. Now they're changing by same percentage. Arey Baba, if they are changing by same percentage, then what is happening? Suppose you take a gap using your fingers. Suppose you put some gap between two demand curves, you know, exactly the same gap that you have taken. See, I have raised the demand by shifting it to right. Now, whatever it is, supply curve you will have to shift by same quantity, like same gap should be kept. So if I keep the same gap, my dear friends, it is giving me something like this. Now, if I find out the new level, you see the equilibrium price is remaining at the same level. The new intersection of blue lines. Oh, so equilibrium prices remain unchanged, no change, and equilibrium quantity has risen, which you all were expecting. So with graphs also have demonstrated the same. I hope it's crystal clear now. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. So equilibrium quantity has risen as we had expected. Sir, we have understood what you are saying. What next, sir? Let's do this one, sir. Decrease in demand, same as decrease in supply. Decrease in demand, same as decrease in supply. What will happen in such scenario? If decrease in demand is same as decrease in supply, what will happen in such a scenario? That is my simple question to you. Come on, answer me this. Come on, answer me this. Fatafat, everybody. Answer me this. Fatafat. Come on, guys. Let's hear it out. Now see, here decrease is same. So obviously you all know equilibrium quantity is going to fall because both are decreasing. Now see, same. So see, demand here, supply here, same percentage. So there is no excess demand, no excess supply. So the answer will be equilibrium price will not change, but equilibrium quantity is going to fall. Now, if you want me to show it to you, here it is. If you want me to show it to you, here it is. See, this is demand, this is supply. Okay, this is quantity, this is price. Now, both are declining by the same percentage. Both are declining by the same percentage. So, quantity demanded. So, see, first of all, this is the scenario. Okay, now both are declining by the same percentage. So, if both are declining by the same percentage, you see what is happening. The leftward shift in demand will be equal to the leftward shift in supply. And to your utmost surprise, you will find out that there is no change in equilibrium price, while equilibrium quantity definitely has shown a declining trend. Initially, you were here, now you are shifted to Q1 as we had expected. No change, comma, fall. No change, comma, fall. I'm sure all of you are with me on this. I'm sure all of you are with me on this. Come on, friends. Yes. Let me ask you another question and let's see whether you are able to answer this or not. Okay. Suitable weather has resulted in good production of crops. How will it affect equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? That is the simple question that has been written in front of you. Suitable weather has resulted in good production of crops. How will it affect equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, friends? Come on. I'm not giving you any options. Achha, let's give you options now, whatever is the problem. Otherwise, you will say, sir is not giving MCQ options. Okay, no problem. Fall, fall. Fall, fall. Rise, rise. Okay, now go ahead. Come on. Take your time and answer this. Come on, please. Acha. Let's see. All right, let me show it to you how we go about it. Suitable weather. Now see, it is going to affect supply, you see, has resulted in more supply. So equilibrium quantity is going to rise because equilibrium As far as demand is concerned, there is no change in demand. So quantity supplied has risen, as a result of which equilibrium quantity is going to rise. Okay. Now what about price? If you will have a look carefully, see demand remaining the same, supply is going upward. Demand remaining the same, supply is going upward. This in turn is resulting in a situation of excess supply. Acha. This in turn is resulting in a situation of excess supply, as a result of which prices will fall. As a result of which prices will fall. And so the correct option here seems to be correct option here seems to be C. Pay attention. I've asked what is the equilibrium price and quantity. So as you have seen, excess supply resulting in price fall. So fall and rise seems to be the correct answer, which is B. B seems to be the correct answer. Now let me show it to you. All right. See, you will have to study factors affecting supply, because if you don't do that, there is going to be some trouble. Now see. Now see. We're drawing this. We're drawing this. All right. Now, having said that, having drawn this, now what are we doing? Or what are we discussing here? See. Here it is a demand curve. Here it is a supply curve. Okay, sir. Now the intersection is taking place here. So at this level, equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity you have arrived at. This is the equilibrium point. This is the equilibrium quantity. And this is the equilibrium price. Absolutely. Now, friends, what is happening is, since weather has resulted in good production of crops, supply has resulted in a rightward shift. So supply has resulted in a rightward shift. It means you are somewhere here. You see supply is resulting in a rightward shift. You are somewhere here. S1, S2 is here. Now, friends, if that is the case, you all will see what? Equilibrium quantity has risen and equilibrium price has fallen. So as we had expected, fall rise to take place, fall rise is taking place. Yes. If you draw the diagram correct, the rule number 1 is your answer will be correct. I mean, there is no second thoughts about it. The ability to understand that is what makes you special. Okay. Let's go about it, sir. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the next question and see whether we are able to answer this or not. Okay. Now pay attention. 10% result rise in demand and a 10% rise in demand and 20% rise in supply has taken place. A 10% rise in demand and 20% rise in supply has taken place. Okay. Find its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Come on, friends, answer me this question. Answer me this question. A 10% rise in demand and a 20% rise in supply has taken place. Find its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Come on. Absolutely. So if this is clear, yes. So let me draw it for you, the entire picture. Now see, rise in demand is 10%, rise in supply is 20%. So there is a situation of excess supply. We call it to be what? We call it to be a situation of excess supply. First of all, so excess supply results in equilibrium price going down. This is answer number one. And what is answer number two? Since the rise in demand and rise in supply both is rising, they both are on the rise actually. So what will happen to equilibrium quantity? Equilibrium quantity is going to go up. Equilibrium quantity is going to rise. It is going to go up. Yes, sir, it indeed is going to go up, and hence your answer here. And hence your answer here. Acha, sir. We have understood this. So, friends, if you have understood this, then what is basically happening is, if you have understood this, then what is basically happening is this much understood. So, see, I'll show it to you the diagram way, because most of you are now wanting to know the diagram way. All right. Here it is, the demand curve, the supply curve, and then there is this intersection taking place, resulting in equilibrium price and resulting in equilibrium quantity. Okay, this is the equilibrium point as you call it. And now what is happening is that there is a rise in both, 20% rise in supply and 10% rise in demand. So if 20% rise in supply and 10% rise in demand is taking place, this is demand, this is supply. Now what is happening is 10% rise in demand. So let's say it is shifting slightly towards the right, let's say here. And if you talk about supply, it is slightly towards a further right. Right? Yes, sir. So now if you see here, or supply we can increase further. If you see the intersection here, it's taking place here. And hence you can, take it from here that equilibrium quantity has risen and equilibrium price has fallen. It has come from here. Equilibrium quantity is on the rise, equilibrium price is on the fall, as we had rightly predicted. Next question is consumers have started disliking a particular product. State its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Come on, everyone, attack. Consumers have started disliking a particular product. Come on, friends. One of our friends is asking, if tax increases, producer will have to pay from own pocket. It is indirect tax. Indirect tax is charged on goods and services. Price will remain constant, I told in the beginning of the class. So producer's profit margin is falling, so quantity supplied will fall. Now please solve this one, please, everyone. Yes. So see, if consumers have started, friends, pay attention. If consumers have started disliking a particular product, you understand that this is a factor affecting demand. We have studied it under the head consumers' tastes and preferences. Consumers' tastes and preferences. Okay, number one. Number two, if it goes against the product, the quantity demanded is obviously going to fall, quantity supplied remaining constant. Now, if either one of them is falling, what will happen to the equilibrium quantity? Obviously, the equilibrium quantity is going to fall because one of them is falling. Now, pay attention. Now, pay attention. Having said this, Then there comes the another aspect of this topic. What is it, sir? That once this has happened, now quantity demanded is less than quantity supplied. I mean change. And so there is excess supply. And whenever in market there is excess supply, the equilibrium price, as you already know, is always going to absolutely yes, fall. So equilibrium price is going to fall. Sir, we have understood this much. No problem, sir. Shall we? Yes. Let's go ahead. And see what is going on now. Next question. What happens if price of complementary goods rises? How will it affect equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Come on, answer me this, friends. Answer me this one. So see, what is happening here is, suppose, pay attention everyone, okay? Suppose if price of complementary goods are rising, quantity of current commodity will fall. What quantity? Quantity demanded will fall. And so quantity demanded is falling, quantity supplied remaining the same. This is resulting in a situation of excess supply. So see, equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity both are on the fall because quantity demanded is falling, and as usual, since there is a situation of excess supply, so there will be fall scenario. So both fall. Very good. It's great to see that people are able to answer this. Okay. Now, let me give you another question and see whether you're able to answer this. Okay. If direct tax, remember, I am not telling indirect tax now. I'm not saying indirect tax now. I'm saying direct tax. If direct tax charged by the government is increased, if direct tax charged by the government is increased, okay, if direct tax charged by the government is increased, what will be its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? If direct tax charged by the government is increased, what will be its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Remember, direct tax means income tax, which is charged on the income of the consumer. It's like income tax. Okay. So answer very carefully, huh? This is indirect tax. This is direct tax, not indirect tax. Come on. Come on. Okay. Same. Great. Let's see. So suppose my dear friends, if direct tax is increased, what will happen? As a result of this, disposable income is going to go down. If direct tax is increased, disposable income of the consumer is going to go down, because of which demand of the consumer is going to go down. Remember, this has to be understood. It's not going to affect supply, because it is not charged on goods and services. It is charged on income of the consumer. So as a result of this, income is falling down. So demand is going down. Acha, logical. And therefore, your answer will be equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity both will fall. Equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity both will fall. Acha. Is that so, sir? Yes, friends, that is so. That is so. Moving on. Let's move ahead. Okay, clear. Moving on. Next question. What if rise in supply is greater than rise in demand? Mind you, both are rising, friends. What do you think your answer is going to be in the given situation? When you have been told that the rise in supply is greater than rise in demand. Okay, got it. So if this is crystal clear, then what is happening is, if rise in supply is greater than rise in demand, now what is happening is quantity supplied. Now what is happening is quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded. Now what is happening is, if rise in quantity is greater than quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded. If that is happening, friends, pay attention, friends. There is going to be a situation of excess supply. Now see, this excess supply will result in, yes, what? It will result in fall in price level. What will this excess supply result in? It will result in fall in price. Obviously, when I say price, I mean equilibrium price. But since both quantities are on the rise, equilibrium quantity is going to rise. Sir, why don't you show us the diagram? All right. Okay. So I'll show it to you. Don't worry. Here it is. There is this demand curve. There is this supply curve. Done? Yes, sir, done. So there is this demand curve and then this supply curve, as you can crystal clear. As you can see it in a crystal clear form. Now what is happening is, the quantity supplied is increasing at a much faster pace. So when it is increasing, you all see it here. When quantity supplied is increasing, it is rather increasing at a much faster pace. Yes, demand is also rising, but not as fast as the rise in that particular thing. Now see, originally you were here. This was the original point. Now you are here. So if you look carefully, as we had expected, this is what has happened. Equilibrium price has reduced from P1 to P2, but equilibrium quantity has risen from Q1 to Q2. I'm sure all of you got this. Yes, sir, we did. Achha, my dear friends, remember one thing, and that is very crucial. I'm going to one question of institute. It's a very good one. So I am going to institute material straight away for the same. A very good one. The best question so far that we have done. I'll show it to you. This all we have discussed. We have drawn the diagram. So nothing to be really, bothered about. Let's see. Okay. So here is a diagram given to us. Okay. Now of a commodity. Can you see it, friends? Yes, definitely, sir. Assume X is a normal good. Fantastic. Holding everything else constant. Okay. Assume that. Acha, what they are telling us before. Acha. Starting from initial equilibrium 1. So we are at 1 now. Remember, I am changing the color. Let's move to a red color because you will see it better. So you are originally here. Now whatever movement shall take place from here. Okay. What point of the graph would most likely result from each changes in question 1 to 4? Okay. So here it is. Here it is. Let's see. Assuming X is a normal good, holding everything else constant, assuming that income rises and price of a factor of production also rises. So what is happening is that income is rising and price of factor of production are also rising. Now you have to pay a lot of attention. You see what is happening. If income is rising, what will happen to quantity demanded? It will rise. But if price of factor inputs is rising, as they have mentioned, quantity supplied will fall because cost of input is rising. So quantity supplied will fall. So demand will shift rightward. Supply curve will shift which side? Obviously, because supply is falling, it will shift leftward. So from what I understand, since demand has increased, it must shift to D2. Correct? And since demand has increased, it has to increase to D2. And since supply has reduced, it has to move to S3. It has to move through S3 because supply has shifted leftward now. So now this D2, if you see carefully, if you see D2 and S3, they're intersecting at point 2. At what point? At point 2. What is it they are asking? What point in the figure is above likely to be most new equilibrium price and quantity level? So point 2. And you see our answer is point 2. We have done it correct. Understood? Because they told that price of factors of production are rising. So input rise, that is leftward shift in supply, and this is out. Always begin from a central position, okay? Always begin from an initial position and accordingly play. My dear friends, did you understand? The first question answer is point 2. I hope you all have understood. Come on, friends, crystal clear? Come on, friends, is it crystal clear, friends? So this is it. This is what it is basically. We were at point 1. हम लोग point 1 पे थे. Demand बढ़ा. क्यों बढ़ा? क्योंकि कंज्यूमर का इनकम बढ़ा. तो डिमांड D1 से D2 चला गया. सप्लाई घटा. क्यों घटा? क्योंकि कॉस्ट बढ़ गया था बनाने का. तो S3 पर गए. तो D2 और S3 आप लोग कहां मीट कर रहे हैं? आप लोग देखिए 2 पर. तो मेरा आंसर 2 था. Now moving on to the next one, please. Now moving on to the next one, please. All right. See, we are analyzing the market for goods Z. You know, friends, please tell me you agree or not. Generally, what I've seen is students find this chapter the easiest. From what I have personally understood, when I was a student, I still am, but from what I have understood is that this seems to be very easy because there is hardly anything to learn here. Don't you all agree? There's hardly anything to learn here. I personally think. Okay. So now moving on. We are analyzing the market for a good Z. Okay, so there is a commodity Z whose market we are analyzing. Okay, now see what is happening. The price of a complement good Y. The price of a complement good. The price of a complement good Y declines. So see what is happening. The price of complement good, that is good Y, is declining. Oh my God. So if price of complement good is declining, that means quantity demanded is rising. So again, we will shift from D1 to D2. This I have thought. At the same time, technological advancement, wow, new technology has come. So supply will increase. So supply curve will move from S1 to S2, that is rightward. Now you have to find out where D2 and S2 are meeting. So D2, S2 are meeting at 0.7. So the point answer will be point number 7. Did you understand it, friends? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it crystal clear, friends? Yes, we agree. Point number 7, I hope all of you understood. Because of technological advancement, quantity supplied is rising, hence a rightward shift. And similarly, because of the price of complementary good declining, quantity demanded is also rising. Hence a rightward shift yet again. Yes. Moving on. See, heavy rains. Acha, first let's verify the answer. Yes, it is 0.7. All right. Now moving on. Heavy rains in Maharashtra always start from point 1. Remember, you will always start from the initial point, that is point 1. Students, you should not make this mistake that you assume some other point. No, 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 no. You always start from the initial point, that is point 1. All right. Now let's move on. Heavy rains in Maharashtra during 2005 and 6 caused havoc. Oh my God. So the rice quantity supplied had fallen. Supply curve is shifting leftward. I have no doubt about that. So from S1 it has shifted to S3. Achha. What point in the figure is likely to communicate the given information? Now, my dear friends, if you see demand remaining the same, supply has shifted leftward. So demand is D1 only. Demand is, pay attention, demand is D1 only, but supply was S1, has reduced and has gone to S3. So friends, if supply has gone to S3, it is here. It is indeed here, D1 and S3. So it's point number 3 basically. Question number 3, answer is also point 3. Oh my God. Sir, we have understood this. Sir, we have understood this. So the answer is going to be 3. Fantastic, friends. Fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one. Assume that consumers expect the prices of new cars to significantly increase next year. Achha. So consumers are expecting rise in prices. Expect the price of new cars to significantly. What point would most likely affect? Now see, if the consumers are expecting the price of new cars to be, rising, what will they do? They will start purchasing more today. Expectation regarding future prices. We studied now that if in future you expect price to rise, current quantity demanded will rise. So from 1 you will shift to 5 because supply curve S1 is going to be the same. And so the answer to this one will be point number 5. I hope it's crystal clear, friends. I hope it's crystal clear. Yes. Moving on. All right. Now, you will tell me this one. Okay. If quantity demanded rises by 40%, quantity supplied falls by 30%, what will be the impact on equilibrium price and quantity? Come on, everyone. Option: rise, fall, rise, fall. What say, friends, is your, opinion? What, friends, is your opinion? Come on, friends. Got it? So friends, if you have got it, if you have got the logic, now pay attention here. See, if quantity demanded has risen by 40% and if quantity supplied has fallen by 30%, who do you think has changed more? See, first of all, demand has risen, supply has fallen. But overall, there is an increase now because the one that has increased has gone up by 40%. The one that has gone down is gone down by 30%. So still 10% you are up. So equilibrium quantity seems to rise. Equilibrium quantity seems to rise in the given situation. So what about equilibrium price? Now you see, demand is rising. Now you see, pay attention, friends. Pay attention, friends. Equilibrium quantity is rising. Now what about the thing? Equilibrium price. Now see, demand has risen, supply has fallen. So there is a big excess demand in the market. So obviously equilibrium price, quantity, so we told that it will rise. Equilibrium price as a result will also rise. So answer seems to be rise. Sir, can you explain it with the diagram? Yes, I definitely can explain it with the diagram. So see, pay attention, everybody. Demand, supply. Okay, demand and supply. Equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. This is the price, this is the quantity axis. All right. Now, friends, pay attention, everyone. If quantity rises by 40% and quantity supplied falls by this, so see, this is supply, this is demand. So now pay attention. Demand rises by 40%, supply falls by 30%. So if you see here, demand has risen by a greater proportion. You can definitely see that here. Supply will fall. That's right. But with a lesser proportion. And so it's like this. So it's like this. So supply curve is also S1 here. Whatever you do, if you see the intersection point, it's somehow like this. It is resulting in an increased equilibrium quantity and an increased equilibrium price. So there is something called rise going on here. There is something called rise going on here, and there you have it. This is the answer. This is the answer. Friends, is it crystal clear? Come on, guys. All right. Now moving on. Now moving on. Pay attention, everybody. Now moving on. Let's see the next one. Question. What will you observe? Observe if quantity supplied falls by 30%, quantity demanded falls by 40%. Come on, everybody. Your answers, please. You can draw the diagram, you can try it out, but answers, please. Come on, friends. I told you before this chapter started, before this class started today, that today is going to be filled with graphs. As you can already see, we have drawn so many. If you turn the pages up, like almost in every pages, we have drawn around 7 to 8 graphs, 8 to 10 graphs, which is, must. It's good for this chapter. As also, we have practiced demand and supply. It's like a revision that has taken place. So yes, try it out, please, everyone. This one. Okay, let's see. See, if we predict, see, quantity supplied and demand are already falling. So as long as equilibrium quantity is involved, there's hardly any prediction. It's obviously that since the both quantity parameters are falling, equilibrium quantity will fall. And so your answer is equilibrium quantity will fall. Your answer would be equilibrium quantity will fall. But friends, the thing is, we have got to consider the implication on equilibrium price now. Now, if you talk about equilibrium price, if you have got to consider the impact on equilibrium price, we have to see something. What we have to see is that what in reality is taking place. Basically, demand has gone down by 40%. So let's say if this hand represents demand, it has gone down by 40, but supply hand has gone down by 30 only. So supply hand is above demand hand, excess supply meaning what? Fall in price. So equilibrium price seems to show a fall here. And so if you want the diagram again, friends, if you want the diagram again, here it is for you. Here it is for you. Here it is for you. Pay attention, friends. So if you see, this is demand curve. Okay. There is this demand curve. All right. And then there is this supply curve. Okay. If you see the intersection, they are intersecting here. If you see the intersection, they are intersecting here. Right. It is like this. They're intersecting here. This is the equilibrium price, and this is the equilibrium quantity. Okay, this is the equilibrium price, and this is the equilibrium quantity. That's all right, sir. Now, what is happening is that quantity supplied is falling, but demand is falling in a greater swing. So, if we show the fall, let's say this is a fall in supply. Let's say this is a fall in supply. Demand will be more drastic. And so if you see the intersection taking place, it's rather taking place here. And hence you can clearly see equilibrium quantity going down, equilibrium price also as a matter of fact going down here, which we had already planned. Fall is the scenario. Fall is the scenario. Okay. Next question is, come on friends, my next question is, again another MCQ question. If government brings in new technology and level of income in society also increases, what impact would it have on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Come on friends, answer me. Come on friends, answer me. Come on friends. I'll read out the question. If government brings in new technology and level of income in society or also increases, what impact would it have on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? What impact would it have on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? So my dear friends, if you see, new technology, quantity supplied will rise. Level of income, quantity demanded will rise. So it seems that overall equilibrium quantity will rise. But you see, in price, you will have to say. You cannot say equilibrium price is going to rise. You must say equilibrium price cannot be concluded. You know why? Because I have not stated that they are rising by how much. So is supply greater than demand? Then equilibrium price will fall. If demand is greater than supply, price will rise. If both are same, price will not change. So equilibrium price cannot be determined. That is why I gave you this question. Many of you have written rise. That is correct. That is incorrect. Equilibrium quantity portion is correct, but equilibrium price portion is absolutely incorrect. Your answer has got to be can't be predicted because of lack of information. You have got to understand this, friends. I hope you have understood this. Yes or no, people? Come on. EP, how can you say EP will be the same? I have not written by same quantity. So you cannot judge equilibrium price in this question. That is the trick. That's why I gave you this question. Got it? So you got tricked here. Okay. Let's see now what is happening. Let's see now what is happening. If government raises the rates of both direct and indirect taxes, states its impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. If government raises rates of both direct and indirect taxes, state its impact on both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Both direct and indirect taxes, government has raised the rates. Come on, a good one. A good question to think on. Let's hear it. Another 1 minute I'll give you, and then I'll start. See, now we have got to understand, if government raises rates of direct tax, you all will agree, and I think you all have agreed that sir, direct taxes if rise, income is going to fall, disposable income I mean, and so quantity demanded is going to fall, full stop. Let's consider indirect taxes. So indirect taxes can be predicted as rise in indirect taxes is going to raise the cost for the producer. So quantity supplied as a result is going to fall. One thing we can be damn sure about, that if you talk about equilibrium quantity, come on friends, what will happen to equilibrium quantity? Absolutely. Arey sir, both demand and supply are falling. Obviously, equilibrium quantity is going to fall. Next question is, what about equilibrium price? What about equilibrium price? So if you see the equilibrium price, again we are in the dilemma. See, we don't know who's impacted, who is facing a stronger impact. Like demand is falling by a greater percentage, supply is falling by a greater percentage, or the change is equal. We don't know that with the given information. So can't be said. Remember, it's very difficult for students. These questions are very tricky because once you cannot say this, and if by mistake you have commented that it will fall or rise, you're gone. Your concepts have to be hands-on perfect. Acha, sir. We have got it, sir. Let's move on to the next one then. Let's see what we are able to extract out of the same. The question is, what would the impact of consumers expecting price of commodity in future to fall? What would impact of consumer expecting price of commodity in future to fall be on the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? What would the impact be? Come on, friends. Come on, friends. Tell me this one. What would the impact of consumers expecting price of commodity in future to fall be on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity? Come on, mates. Now see, I'll highlight it for you. See, what is happening is consumers expecting price of commodity in future to fall, right? So if the price is expected to fall in the future, presently quantity demanded is going to fall. Present quantity demanded is going to fall. Right, sir? Present quantity demanded is going to fall. Quantity supplied remaining the same. This in turn would have what impact? This in turn would have impact that it is resulting in excess supply. Now all of us would come to the conclusion that since there is excess supply, equilibrium price should fall and equilibrium quantity on the other hand should also fall because at least one of the quantities is falling. So it's showing a downward trend. So what if you show us the diagram? Sure, no, why not? Here it is. Original OG curve, demand and supply. Okay. This is the thing. So this is equilibrium price and this is equilibrium quantity. Okay. Now pay attention. Now what they are trying to tell us that if expecting price to fall, so demand is going to fall, and if demand is going to fall, pay attention, friends. If demand is going to fall, there is going to be a leftward shift. If demand is going to fall, there is going to be a leftward shift here. So here it is, a leftward shift here. A leftward shift here. Yes, sir, you got it correct. Because demand is falling. And so when you find out the new intersection of the demand and the original supply, you see equilibrium quantity is on the fall, equilibrium price is also on the fall. So overall, we can summarize that for equilibrium price, we must always judge how, by whether there is excess demand, excess supply. If there is excess demand, as usual, equilibrium price is rising. If excess supply, equilibrium quantity is falling. And if change in quantity equals to change in supply, change in quantity demanded is equals to change in quantity supplied, then equilibrium price will not change. Equilibrium price will remain constant. Equilibrium price will remain constant. It will not change at all. And with this, my dear friends, we have completed this particular part. Next day, we talk about perfect competition and other markets in more detail. See you all. Goodbye, everyone, for the day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you.